is if you use your power to rule over someone else, then that is not right. Well, but there we come back. Is that 1 week, 1 month old fetus a person?
Could I ask why you think that?
There are too many circumstances where women are put into situations where raising a child is extremely difficult.
Yeah. Are you like referring to like economy, or am I hearing you right?
Economy, age.
Age. Okay. So
Age.
when do you think? Okay. So you're saying economy and age, kind of those two things.
Well, those two play a role.
Sure.
Yeah.
When do you think it no longer plays a role? Like, I'm sure you would agree with me if somebody said, my 2-year-old the economy's really rough right now. You know, I'm 40. I don't really want to have a 2-year-old. Like, I would like to kill it.
Oh no, that's not the same.
No.
Not the
But what if? Let me go further. Like, what if that mother says, no, I can kill it because they're dependent on me?
No,
I would stand with you.
No.
So, do you see the correlation that I would draw there to that baby in the womb? That people say, since they're dependent on me, I have the right to do whatever I want to that child because they're a burden to me. Do you see any like holes in my argument?
I was in a situation once where I thought I may be pregnant, and I was just absolutely terrified.
Yeah.
And I was terrified because there was absolutely no network. I had no relation to that, which I wasn't. So, which was good.
Yeah.
But before you have a relationship to that embryo that's growing in you, that takes a while. That takes a while to grow. It's not that you're pregnant. There's something really different in your body that you do not relate to. Now,
what if somebody doesn't relate to that toddler, like in the same way?
well, that would be bad.
That would be bad. Why would that be bad?
Well, it's bad for the child. That's fair.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
bad for the
So I
child.
think that in that same instance, I think it would be bad for that same reason.
But if you have absolutely no relationship to this fetus that's growing in you, not yet. I mean, it will grow as you go on. So I think there comes a point where it's probably too late to have an abortion. But there are, when you think how women, and the burden is mostly on women.
Mm-hmm.
So if the financial situations or the social situations are so terrible, I think before somebody makes that decision, things have to be pretty bad.
Just so I'm understanding your argument, you're saying that it's okay when you were making your point where you're referring to like the first trimester.
Yeah.
That's kind of okay. So you're saying that since mothers don't have a relationship with that them at that age, then they can have if they're in the economic struggle, then they can kill them.
Well, I don't look at it as killing. It's like having a tumor. I had a tumor. I had no relationship to that tumor, and even though I had it for 4 months, but when I found out, I mean, I wanted nothing more than get that thing out, because it would have impinged on my health.
Yeah, well, I would agree. I think it's good that you removed that tumor, except for this is a child we're talking about, right? So just to put you a little bit, you said with the killing, I guess the definition I would use with killing is if we take something that's living and we end that life, that would be killing. That's where I'm getting that definition. So I'm totally fine using the definition that we killed that tumor. In fact, I think that's a good thing that we killed that tumor. I don't think killing a child is a good thing.
But it's not a child yet. It cannot live by itself.
Children can't live by themselves either, right?
No, they can't.
No,
but then, you have gone through all kinds of different steps.
How so?
When you have a child, you're like getting used to the fact that there's a baby, and there's a lot. Do you have children?
I don't know.
Well, see, I think it would be good if you had some. A relationship and a love and a commitment develops with time for their child. For some people, it's only in the moment that the child is born. But if you have, I have 2 children.
I'm happy to hear that. I just don't think the word that uses commitment, I don't think how committed you are to that child determines that child's life, how valuable they are.
But it's not an independent life.
When would you say it is an independent life? Would you say, because in Minnesota, sadly, we're one of the states that you can get an abortion up to 9 months. So would you say that that's awful?
I wouldn't think doctors would do that.
Well, it doesn't matter if they do or not. I mean, it does happen, but why is it legal, right?
I think no, that's too long. I think
But
that's
based on what
waiting too long.
standard? Because I thought you were saying, because that baby, up until then, like, it's still living off the mother, right?
Still, that is a fully developed child at the age of 9 months. There, I would say, have it, and if you can't keep it, give it up for adoption. But the emotional thing, that's all involved in that, and plenty of children are being given up for adoption. That's true. But if somebody becomes pregnant and is not planning on it, and it's, when things happen to you and you are not planning it, and you have no way of dealing with it, society doesn't help enough. That's the other thing. So the economical thing, when you see how hard it is now, how many parents decide not to have more than 1 or 2 children, because society doesn't help with all the talk that's going on. But child care is a gigantic problem. Now most parents, including my daughters, they have worked the whole time, and I have jumped in because I was close enough to do that. They had enough money to be able to pay the child care provider. But how many parents, despite the fact that they work 2 or 3 jobs and may have already 2 or 3 children or dependents, so then it becomes an economic issue. But I think the two are intertwined. Unless society provides for the mothers, because we need the children. I agree. I mean, all children should be allowed to live. But when you think how many children live and are not given what they need, proper housing, proper food, all the people who are so desperate now for even feeding their families, or living in a decent housing, or having adequate schooling, it goes, the more money you have, the better your schools are for your kids. And if you don't, then you bring this child into a world that is not ready for it,
right,
in a way.
Could I ask a clarifying question? Or maybe just to see your point a little further. Would you say that, so we're pointing to economic struggles being that reason, right?
Right.
So do you think that we should ban rich women from getting abortions?
I don't think
Because they don't have that economic struggle that you're talking about.
They do too. Maybe they...
Are they struggling though, if they're living comfortably?
Still making all these decisions. I think children in a perfect world should be wanted and loved, but they should be born into an environment that's nourishing and not exploitive. I mean, when you hear all these terrible things that happen to children,
I think we're going down a little bit different.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push back a little bit. So I think that rich statement, that one kind of knocks your legs from underneath you, because you're saying that childcare is really expensive. All these things are really expensive.
Yeah.
So if they can't afford that, they're going through that struggle, then they should have the right to kill them, because we don't want them living through that. So if they don't have that struggle,
call it killing. We're talking about a fetus that's not viable, and where the mother and the father is involved. The men are never mentioned in this, in all these debates.
I don't think the baby's ever mentioned from the pro-choice side.
It takes 2 to make a baby. So until the men are who help produce these children, because without that it wouldn't be possible, until that discussion, and again, it's a different topic, but right now the burden is all on the women. And until men take the responsibility to jump in and say, and I'm not saying that some are not, but all the talk is always on the women, and that somehow says, then you see a woman who would have to carry the burden. Maybe she has already 2 or 3 children, and now she has another baby, which takes 100% of your time. I mean, the few hours you get in between to sleep, but then if you have other kids, you have to take care of them. So often it's an economic question.
Well, just so I'm understanding you, so you're saying, and I would agree that there should be a mother and a father, right?
Yeah,
we're not meant
right.
to go through that alone.
No.
That's an awful thing.
Yeah.
But would your argument be that unless there's a mother and a father, if there's only the mother, until the guy steps in, she has the right to kill her child?
She has the right, I think she should have the right for an abortion up to 3 months.
Up to 3 months? Why not like 3 months in one day?
Because
Or
I think then a relationship has developed with that child, and you hope it's a good one, then it's part of her. Before that, you don't, there's something that could be anything growing in your body. You often don't even know.
Would you agree with me that there's just follow me on this. Would you agree with me that there's terrible mothers out there?
Yeah.
Would you agree with me that there's some mothers who don't have relationships with their kids now?
Right, yes.
I don't think that mother should have the right to kill her kid because they don't have a relationship.
Not a living child.
So what makes that child in the womb not living?
Well, because it's not complete. It's not a child that can live by itself. I mean, grant you say, yes, 2-year-olds can't live by themselves, but have you seen 1-pound babies that they are nourishing? And I don't even want to talk about the cost of how many of them die though because they just can't live because they're not developed enough. And so the few that live, they're celebrated, and good for the doctors, good for the parents, because they all want that child. So that's why they're working so hard. But when you get a woman into a circumstance where it's nothing but I think so. I think a fetus is not a baby until I don't know what the medical definition is. I think 2-3 months or something.
Embryology would be day one, the moment of fertilization.
But you don't even have a heartbeat. Now they say they can hear a heartbeat now at, I don't know how, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, something.
I think it's 3 weeks,
yeah. But is a heartbeat a child? Heartbeat is not a child. Heartbeat is not
No,
a
heartbeat's
baby.
not a child. That's why I would say that happens before that.
So what is a baby then? Then you have to analyze that.
Well, I think we should probably flesh out our definitions. So when I'm referring to child, I'm just talking about somebody's offspring. But what I'm really referring to is that's a person. So I guess I would say that's a much more fitting word, because I would say that because you could point to a baby being a level of development, right? Because it's past this, it's not an embryo, right? It's past. So I would say a person is something that would apply to each one of those states.
Yeah. Well.
So that's the word I would like to use. So when do you think it becomes a person?
It depends really on the people who carry that child.
So
when it's a person.
Well, we were quoting science earlier. So why is it that the people have the right to say when that's a person, and we're not looking at science for when it's a person?
How much autonomy do you have over your own body? Should you even get permission to have a tooth removed because it's part of your body? Or should you have a tumor removed?
I think that child in the womb, that person, it's not a part of your body, it's attached to your body.
Oh, it's part of you, very much so. When you carry that child, it's very much part of you.
So you say it's a part. Let's go down this thought experiment. So if a mother is pregnant with a boy, is she a boy and a mother? Does that mother have a penis?
I don't know when that develops, but typically all babies first are female, then that develops later.
Yeah, but once that's a male, would that mother, because you said that's a part of the mother, right?
It is a part of the mother. It's because directly connected through the umbilical cord.
So you would say that mother does have a penis?
Well, in a sense, yes, she carries it.
Okay. I just don't think that's based in science. Because I would say that's its own. It has that child in the womb has its own unique DNA, so it's a separate person that's attached to the mother.
Yeah, but it's dependent on the mother who's carrying it. It's really splitting atoms there. You know what we're talking about. I guess what it comes down to, you're against abortion at any stage.
Yeah.
And I think there is a window for it to be where it should be possible.
Do you think that your window is only based in your opinion?
Probably.
Do you think we should legislate your opinion, or we should legislate moral facts?
You cannot legislate opinion. You can legislate only actions of what is good for society.
Would you say that there's such thing as absolute morality? Something that's absolutely wrong no matter what somebody's opinion is on it?
I don't think there's absolute morality.
Okay. So if something terrible were to happen to me, if somebody would have just came up and just shanked the hell out of me, do you think that was wrong?
That's wrong.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely wrong, or just because that's your opinion?
Well, it's because it's my opinion that it's
Okay.
wrong. Because in some people's viewpoint, it could be a deserved punishment for
Sure.
you.
Oh wow. Okay. But I guess I would say, so if that were to happen to you, I would want to see that guy held to the full extent of the law, because I think you're a valuable person that should be protected, and I think that's absolute. So that's where I would say that, like, we force our morality onto people all the time, and we
Yes.
look at it
But it's
as
our
just
morality. It's our morality. I
our
don't think
absolute
there's a
morality.
standard. I don't think there's a standard for morality. Go to other countries, what is done in the name of the good for everyone, and you'll find differences there. You go to India, the caste system, what's done to people there, it's their morality, because they have a caste system, and when you are of a lower caste, you don't deserve any better, and everybody Indian would they live by that, and
So
they accept it, and they don't balk it. Even the people in it will not, if they are not allowed to marry somebody from a higher caste, they will not do it. And if they do, they know they're out. I mean, they're outcasts.
Yes, I think that's awful. But I would point it even further. So, are you saying that since, like, that group of people holds that opinion, that it's their opinion and we can let them do it, even if it affects other people? Because the caste system affects other people, right?
Right.
Just so I'm understanding.
Yeah.
So, was Nazi Germany truly wrong, or was it just their opinion, and our opinion is no longer, or no difference than,
I'm
like, me
German.
liking chocolate, and I'm German too, but
Yeah,
like,
well,
I like
do.
chocolate, you know,
Yeah.
I like vanilla, not really a fan of strawberry. Would you say it's the same thing there? Like, yeah, you know,
Well,
Hitler liked killing
It
people,
was-
I don't.
It was a matter of opinion, but the people, my father had to serve in the German army, because if he hadn't, he would have been thrown in prison, because he would have balked the laws. Now he tried to be the best soldier he could be, and he was drafted, and he was in France, and so he tried to make his young guys under. He was older, he was 30, but under him behave in a moral way towards the people that they were supposed to watch and rule over. But he was against it, though. So he had, in order to save his own life and his family's, us, he had to do certain things. He had to be in the party because of the circle. Not that he didn't endorse that, but he had to go with them for the sake of his wife and children. So it was kind of a, yes, people ask now, how could he? Well, what was the alternative? So they are, that's why I'm saying morality or rules are often done for people's self-interest. I have to admit that. Rules are, but morality, I don't know, I think it's really a vague thing.
So you're okay with forcing our morality onto other people? Because, like, murder laws, I imagine you're for murder laws, rape laws, I imagine you're
No,
for
ideally
rape
I would
laws.
not force it on someone else.
Okay, so if somebody
hold
rapes
my
somebody,
own.
they shouldn't be held to a legal standard.
I think so.
Oh, so you're
because
forcing your morality onto
yeah,
them.
because in my viewpoint, yes, I would think that is wrong, because if you use your power to rule over someone else, then that is not right. Well, but there we come back. Is that 1 week, 1 month old fetus a person?
I think if you put a little, like, tick in any one of those and say that's when it's a person, I think that's arbitrary, because that's just a level of development. And I would not say that somebody who's more developed is more valuable.
I accept your viewpoint. But
Do you think that
doesn't
there's
change mine? That's
sure?
it.
I mean, would you say that there's some things that you would want to consider?
I consider that. I think about it a lot, and like a conversation like this makes me think about it. But so far, I have not changed my mind on it.
What would make you change your mind? Just curious. Like, you don't have to know for certain, but, like, would you say, like, if it's a person, then we should be able to force our morality to protect that person?
If I had, let's say, I had a granddaughter who gets pregnant, I would have a conversation with her of what that would mean for her to carry this child to term, or if she is at a stage where she can make that decision. And I know that they have done all these studies for women who had abortions. Many of them regret it later on, because there's always this what if I had and what if it were. But that's not the only decision in life. It's a major one, I would think. And
Pretty
I can
major, yeah.
see that there are all these what if I hadn't done that. But then you have to look back at the time when you made the decision. What did it look like then? You can maybe only anticipate what you think 20 years down the road, or when you cannot have any other children. I know people who have had an abortion and they have regretted that because they couldn't have any other, and then you live with that regret for the rest of your life. But at the same time, for other people, and I don't know the personal lives of so many other people, but I know of other people who still say after 30 years they made the right decision at the same time, even though they have some regrets. But at the time at which they could not foresee their life. It would have just, they had to look out for themselves, for their mental health, for their status in life, for what it would have meant for that child to live and be raised in what circumstances. So there are so many unknowns. That
There's some people who make the argument for when they're older and they don't like their spouse anymore. I don't like it. I want to get out of that lifestyle, so I killed my spouse, and I don't regret it because I didn't have a relationship with that spouse anymore and like them. I don't think that there's such thing as absolute morality, so it's fine if I kill them.
No, that is never right.
I think we have common ground in saying that that's wrong. I think the only difference is I would have the ground to say that it is wrong. I think I don't see that you have the ground to say that is wrong with your.
All that?
Yeah.
You didn't ask for my permission.
Well, we're in a public place. If you want, I can keep you anonymous if you want, but this is a public.
Anonymous, but I mean, you have me here, but yeah. No, but for whom is that? For whom are you doing that?
We have a YouTube channel, TikTok, Facebook. So we just post clips and talk to people about abortion because we think it's a really important issue that should be talked about. And I think as soon as we stop talking, bad things happen.
Yeah.
Would you say that that's correct? So I think we should continue talking about these things so we don't dehumanize the other side.
There are lots of things to talk about then, yes.
Yeah.
About all kinds of things that are bad right now that happen.
I would say this is the most important.
Well, it's one of many, many important things. But I think child neglect, poverty, those are issues that are all intertwined with this. And they are just as bad. But if you want to call it 90% or 80%, bad is bad. You know, if something goes over 10 or 20, whether you call wife beating very bad or moderately bad, it's still beating. So you can't take that away from it.
Is that absolutely wrong? Right?
Well, beating someone else is not right.
Okay.
Because I mean, if you go live by Christian principles, yes, but I think coming back to morality, I think morality there's not just one morality, and I know I don't always make the right decisions, but I make them thoughtfully, and so if somebody wants to criticize or punish me for my morality, then morality is a vague subject, and so it applies to topics like abortion or whether you take a loaf of bread because you're hungry, or whether you take a loaf of bread because you can and you do it for the sport of it.
Yeah, I mean, if we back up to our conversation previously, there's many instances where you said it's absolutely wrong with me. Like, we had common ground in saying that rape is wrong, right? We had common ground for saying that killing your spouse is wrong, right? Or killing a 2-year-old.
Violence toward one another is wrong.
Yes, because it's your opinion? Or because...
No, it's my religious upbringing.
Okay. What if somebody had a different religious upbringing? Like, what if in their religion they thought it was a good thing to rape people because it increases our population?
I don't know of any religion where that is sanctioned.
What if there is? I'm sure there's some in the past, but what if there was?
There were some. Even the American law was such that...
Would you say that that's wrong?
It was the law, and therefore people who did it thought they were right.
So then it's right.
In hindsight, no, it's not
Okay.
right.
Because it's absolutely wrong. Because there's like a basis that was kind of strung out throughout all of
Yeah,
humanity
but
that it was wrong no matter what time they lived in.
Well, from our perspective now, it's right. But there was a time when a woman could not accuse her husband of abuse because they were married. I mean, because that was behind closed doors, and she couldn't say anything because they were married. And so the law said, that's your private business, no matter how beaten up she was, how black and blue she looked, whether she had been raped and had 12 children.
Yeah. Well, just to point out like how
Yeah.
much I stand on this, I think if somebody does something to that person, like if that woman is
Yeah.
raped or, you know, beaten that badly, I think that guy who did it should
Yeah.
be hung in the streets. Like I think he's that terrible of a person.
That's because we have now learned and educated ourselves and have reinterpreted laws and even religious laws that said, no, the husband does not have the total right over the woman that he marries.
Mm-hmm.
She has rights too, and she needs to be treated. So that has been a development in the human thinking, let's say.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Again, I guess I would just say I think it's absolutely wrong, and it's not just my opinion, but it exists outside of my opinion.
Well, I respect
I think
your viewpoint, yeah.
I think you do too. Just talking about our conversation, I think you do too. And I think there's a lot that we talked about. There's some more things I would love to go into, but I also don't want to flood over everything else that we talked about. But you kept this really respectful. You seem like a very nice person, so I really appreciate you. But I guess I would just encourage you, instead of standing up for some life, some humans, we stand up for all humans. So I think we talked about a lot. We're going to be setting up all summer, so if there's anything you think of, like, oh, I should have asked them this or something, like you should come up and talk. What was your name again? That's okay. I'm Elijah, so if you ever see me, you can come up and say hi. That's totally fine. You said you wanted this to be anonymous. I'm gonna respect you. I'll blur out your face. You're totally fine.
If you ask me specifically, if my granddaughter were pregnant and comes to me and tells me that, I would encourage her to go ahead and have the child, but I'm not the one who would condemn her if she doesn't.
Could I comment on that? So I would say if we have a scared, vulnerable mother who's going through something absolutely terrifying, that we should be loving to her and be there with her instead of encouraging her to kill her child.
Well, I know your viewpoint. I can see that. Yeah. And I respect that. You know, we have different opinions on all kinds of things, on how this government is run, or what should be done with immigrants, or should they be sent back now to get their green card renewed or something like this. I mean, we can have, there are so many issues in life. Yeah, this is a very important one, and I can see that very much so.
Yeah, well, thank you so much. I'll shake your hand, but thank you so much. Have a good one.